Hello and welcome or welcome back to Talking About Cross Stitch with the Stitching Owl. It is officially Flossmas number 9 and the Jingle Ball is done for one more year. Thank you to Stephanie of Lindy Stitches and her entire crew for making a fun weekend for so many people. It truly was a pleasure to meet so many fellow stitchers and just make new friends from all over the world. Now, let's get into our Advent. So today for the Modern Folk Embroidery Evertote Roxy Floss Co., we are on number 9, and I think you will recognize that as definitely the postcard of a reindeer. So Jacob is inviting you to go over to his floss tube to find out why Santa started using reindeer to pull his sleigh. Now today for our color, we have milk chocolate. And when you look at that, there is some variegation in there. And it's just a pleasing amount, not so much that we get stripes all over the place, but enough to give color variation. So I think that that is absolutely wonderful. Now, to remember, this was the first thing that I stitched, and I've got to try and think back to what I stitched on here. Well, I remember, hang on. This right here is actually in a previous color from day one. Our chocolate brown was down here and here and here. And I feel like there might have been, oh, I was adding in the, wow, I'm not sure what you call those dangling from the elbows. If they were on ears, we'd call them earrings. Are those elbow rings? Not sure. But there we have my Modern Folk Embroidery pattern. I am up to date to day 9, and I am stitching with one strand, couldn't think of the word, of Roxy Floss on 20 count Glacier Ada. I think I'm going to take off the glasses. My other Advent stitch is the Tiny Modernist Advent banner, and I think we've made it to the bottom of the actual pattern this time with a sleigh full of gifts. So now that we have that in, I think we are definitely going to be finding our next set of days are filling in these other blanks. So it is a fun stitch, not a difficult one. She really does give a good clear chart of just this amount, and then just enough of this with the number of where it is in the chart so that you know where to place it on the pattern. So I am finding the Tiny Modernist mystery pattern quite easy to follow, while my Modern Folk Embroidery sometimes challenges me, not because it is hard to read the pattern, but because you have to search for what is new. Now, what else have I been doing? Well, I added some more to A Christmas Gathering by Erica of Fibers and Floss Canada. I am stitching this on 40 count Verdal. It's a white Verdal, and I'm doing this with a JP Coates deep red that I received for free. And today, look at this. That snowflake is so gorgeous. I want to do it on a larger count and make it into an ornament. And of course, I'm thinking, ooh, we need a bead in the middle of each of those spots. but it is coming along well, and I believe that this might be the top of the stitch. You'll notice I didn't really give myself a huge margin. I'm not worried about that. I tend to make these into things that don't need a large amount of fabric in order to do the fully finishing. Now on my Modern Folk Embroidery Cozy Christmas Cabin, three C's, I continue to stitch on 22 count white Aida with 115 variegated red DMC. And today you can see, yes, I finished the house. I got all of Mary in, and you can see that I just put enough in over here for us to know this is the side, and we already know this is the side. So this tree is going to be mirrored over here, and then of course we've got Christmas below. But I believe I'm remembering correctly that I have reached the 50% mark. So it's a lovely stitch, but I mean, it's Jacob. What can I say? And the Cozy Christmas Cabin and this Spirit of Christmas by Textilly, I am stitching with Laura of Stitching by the Shore, Amy of Renewing Stitches, and Mary of Mary Stitching Corner. And as you know, I have, instead of doing the full pattern, started taking out different pieces. And today I got, let's make sure I do it right side up today. Yes. I have all of the red in for the love bauble. Now let's see if I can pull this even closer so you can see. Ah, there we are. I have put some white interspersed with that deep red. So all I have left right now is the word love to put in the gold diamante. And then this guy will be finished. So probably I'll have that done tomorrow. Tomorrow's a bit of a busy day, so I'm not sure how much stitching I am going to get done or when I'm going to actually do my video. It might be actually later in the day. But I am very pleased with how that is coming out. And I am going to do a blue bauble and possibly a royal purple bauble. They stitch up easily and they fully finish into such a nice, nice ornament. And I have one other stitch to show you today, and it is my full coverage by the Shore, which is a Stitches So Beautiful. I am stitching this on a 20 count Aida. I mean, it's white, but it's going to be completely covered up. And what I chose to do is to not show you this one each time I stitch on it. I will show you when I get to the next percentage this month. So I'm now at 11% and have 18,000 stitches in. And look at that. So for the last couple of days, I've been working on getting some greenery in on this side because we've got a full tree over here. And then we've got more greenery here before we go down into the pond. Now this guy, this is what I'm stitching for the Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge. The theme is on the pond, and because there is water like a pond, I am saying that this one fits that theme. And I would normally have a goal of like 5,000 stitches. I think this month I'll go for 2,000 stitches because I'm actually not getting to this every day in order to stay up with my Advent stitching. Now, when it comes to my thankful, I'm actually going to combine thankfulness with music today. Congratulations to those people who recognized and remembered what the title was of the Christmas song. I was totally fine with you calling it Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. I am thankful for the many composers of our music and the arrangers of the traditional hymns. The pieces like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and such, one of the things that is not as well known is that many of those pieces were actually composed by Jewish composers. So I know that last year I watched a wonderful and informative hour-long piece called Have Yourself a Jewish Little Christmas, explaining how much Christmas music truly came from the Jewish community. It's a wonderful documentary, and it is full of music that's very authentic. And I watched it on the CBC. I'm not sure if it's still available or again this year, but if you have a chance to watch it, I do recommend it. So I am very, very grateful for the people that arrange music. Yes, I know that I do it myself. I have had some people say, wow, where are you getting your music? So one day I talked about having first issues of sheet music. So this is a first issue of White Christmas. And this is a first issue of Parade of the Wooden Soldiers. And I do have others. I just don't want to spend like an hour showing you all of my music. When I say I'm playing out of a book of my mother's, this is the Christmas album that I'm speaking of that has, I believe, over 80 Christmas carols in it for me to play. And it includes things, this is where my Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire came from. And yes, some of you were able to say, ah, I sung along, or, oh, Mel Torme, I recognized that from the very first two chords. Now, some of the other books that you could actually look up in your local music shop, or often I go to alfred.com because they've got quite a collection of music to sell. This is one that is very much a favorite of mine. It's by Faber and Faber, who are best known for writing music for beginning students, but this one is not for beginners. So they've got a full range, full catalog, and they're absolutely beautiful. If you like to play Christmas carols in a Chopinesque style, this is a beautiful book, A Romantic Style Christmas. So it is arranged by Faye Lopez. And notice that it is an Alfred performer. Now, I am sure that you've noticed that I like to play versions of Christmas carols that they mix the Christmas carol with something that is a classical melody. And this is one of a number of books that I've got. It's a Tom Fetke. I consider his composing just of the highest level. So carols with classics, and so each of the pieces is combined with a traditional melody. So it's also from the Alfred series. I had a student who gave me several of these books, which are a John Carter arrangement, and they're a little bit more modern and have really interesting chords in it that are different than you find in many. And I think I will stop there because I have an entire drawer dedicated just to Christmas music. Speaking of Christmas music, I have one for you today, and yes, I'd be happy for you to name that tune. I think this one will have your toe tapping and you remembering what the title is. So I thank you for joining me for Flossmas 9. I look forward to seeing you at some point tomorrow for number 10 as we get closer and closer to Christmas Day itself. Take care and keep on stitching.